In this message, I will speak about the topic of mind over matter. How everything is first created in the etheric world and then extended to the physical world. Actually, the difference between the physical and the spiritual doesn't really exist, because all you can touch is also made from spiritual energy. All you see around you, included you, is made of atoms. And if you zoom in into an atom, you will see that it's just an empty space of energy. Because that's what everything is actually made of. You can find more dense forms of energy, which then becomes something physical that you can touch. Or you can find lighter forms of energy, which are just vibrating on a higher speed and are there but are not visible. Your thoughts, your intentions, your emotions are as physical and as real as all the objects that you see around you and that you can touch. Your thoughts, as much as your emotions or your aura, are physical entities, are physical things as the objects that you see around you, and you can use them to destroy or to create something. People who is into martial arts, they know how to use mental focus, and they can break really heavy objects just by using that mental power. There is an entire spiritual realm around you. You can notice that when you go into a room and you say, oh, there is good energy here, or you say, oh, there is bad energy, because you can somehow feel that in your physical body. That's because that place is not empty, it's filled by many energies that you cannot see. You cannot even see the most important parts of your body. Your physical body is a tiny part of all you are. You are a big energy system created by 7 different energetic or etheric bodies. Your physical body is just another one of all these bodies which are interacting with each other. It's like if your physical body is one of your legs, it's just a little part or just a part of everything you are. Let me explain you how vibration works with a fan. Now you see this fan, and you can see every part of the fan clearly. Your eyes can see everything which is there. But now let's make this fan vibrate quickly. Let's make this fan move quicker. Now you see it gets almost invisible. Because it's moving very quick, you cannot really see every part of the fan. If it will move even quicker than that, you will just not see anything. That same thing happens with your etheric bodies. You can see just the physical body that you are because it's a more dense form of energy. It's vibrating on a lower speed, so you can see it. But you have all those other energetic bodies which are there and which are a very real part of you, but you cannot see it because those bodies are vibrating on a very high speed and those bodies become invisible to your eyes. Actually, if your physical body wouldn't be linked to all those other energetic bodies, it would just be a dead body. It wouldn't be alive. Because those higher vibrational bodies, it's what creates your consciousness. So when you get a sickness or just some pain or some imbalance in your body, you may think you got it by chance or because of your genetics, but that thing already happened on your etheric and energetic bodies, and then it manifested on your physical body as a consequence. So for the physical body to get sick, that sickness is first created on all the other etheric bodies of yours. For something to exist in the physical reality, it has to exist first on the spiritual realm, on the vibrational reality. It doesn't happen just in your body, it happens also in everything you see around you. Like for example, when two soulmates meet, They may think they met by chance, but on an energetic level, they were together and they were united way before they met, and actually that's why they met. It was not because, let's say, they happened to be in the same party. So your physical body is just a consequence of all the energetic bodies which creates you. And it wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for that. But you may wonder, who is managing all those etheric bodies which creates me? Am I just a puppet of some god? And the answer is that you are managing all those bodies even if you don't realize about it. It is true that some things are given to you and some things are chosen by your higher self, which is that part of you in perfect communion with God. But I'll talk about it later. But the main thing which is influencing all your etheric bodies is your mind, your emotions, your feelings, and your spiritual vibration. You have the power of changing those things, and through changing those things, you also have the power of changing your physical body. Actually, you are changing your body every second of your life. But you are not doing it consciously. If you will do it consciously, you could heal yourself. But you discovering that is not on the best interest of some powers which are ruling Earth now. The fact that your spiritual power and your mental power can even be stronger than the laws of nature that are on Earth now, like gravity, is proven by those monks who can levitate. They trained their mental focus enough, and their own energy can overcome the energy of gravity. The law of attraction is working every second of your life. But for most of you, it is working against you. Because most of you deeply believe in the age programming, and every number makes you even change your clothes, change your dreams, change your behavior, and change your physical health. Sometimes you create those things yourself. Like a robot having an automatic reaction to different numbers. Some people already have accepted the truth that what you think and what you feel can change certain things in your life, can make you make more money, or may create certain events that you want, may make you achieve success, for example, or what people call success in a material sense. But for that same people who are claiming that, it's very difficult to believe that that energy that they think may go beyond your body and affect your external reality can affect just its container, your body. And again, I tell you, that's because those ideas really are threatening those who are ruling Earth now. Because that's a big weapon they have against you, that fear of sickness and death. It's urgent that you understand what you are and how your energy system works. There is some stories of very advanced yogis from India which could make their body disappear, and people thought that was magic. That wasn't what you call magic, that was just mental power. As difficult as it is to believe, they could control their own vibration and just make their own body take a higher vibration. Make their own body vibrate higher so it can become invisible to the eyes of others, but the body was still there. Of course, that requires years and years of practice, and it could be difficult to achieve if you don't have a perfect environment around. But that doesn't mean it is an impossible goal for humans, because it's perfectly possible for every single human to achieve that. But before talking about those very high states of mastery over the body, just take a look of the world around you. Just see when you are crying, you are creating a physical reaction on your body. Just by an emotional state. Just see when you have a sexual reaction because of having certain images on your mind. It may sound silly, but think about it. It's just a visualization, it's just an image on your mind, and it's changing how are you physically in that moment. There are studies which can show you how every sickness is related to a psychological pattern or to a spiritual vibration. You can also see by carefully looking at somebody's face how sweetness or bitterness are printed there, in that person's face. If you could learn to understand what your physical body is telling you about all your other etheric and energetic bodies, you could solve every single physical problem, including aging, going back to the root of that problem, which is vibrational always. So how can you change? How can you influence your etheric bodies? You can do that with your thoughts, with your feelings, and with your spiritual vibration, and there are certain techniques for you to do that, but the most important thing are your beliefs. Your mind is an energetic field which goes from the center of your stomach to the top of your head. That's where your mental energy is placed energetically, but of course it can influence your whole body and even things which are outside your body. Hypnosis is a good way to see what your mind can do to your body. If you hypnotize somebody and you tell to that person that his finger is on fire, if that person is properly hypnotized, a real physical burn will appear in that person's finger. Because the skin of that person will react like if that burn is real. When you deeply believe something that makes the same kind of effect on you, even if it doesn't happen that radically, that quick, from 1 minute to another, but it will happen with just a little bit of time. Placebo effect, it's not something imaginary. Placebo are beliefs, and beliefs are electrical impulses which are going directly to your cells. So imagine that a fancy medicine goes out on the market. It's a special kind of electrical impulses. They connect you to a machine, and they use that very modern technology to send electrical impulses all over your body. Guess what? That medicine, you already have it. You have it in your mind. You have that fancy machine in you. But because of how you have been programmed, that is way more difficult to believe. That if suddenly TV will tell you that if you pay millions of dollars, that fancy machine will cure you. TV is a way to slow down your thoughts by bombarding your mind with hundreds of images. So who watches TV is going through a semi-hypnosis session, and the unconscious mind of that person is way more accessible, and many ideas can be implanted there. That doesn't mean TV is evil, but please choose well what are you watching. First it was through the fear of religion, now it's through other things and other methods, but they always try to keep you controlled through fear. Sometimes it happened that they made you believe you will get sick because of some reason, and if your vibration was low enough to connect to that fear, you got sick. Then they sent you a medicine exactly for that sickness that you got, and you got cured. But it was all along your own spiritual energy and your own mental power. Your belief in that sickness is what it got you sick, and your deep belief in the cure for that sickness is what it got you cured from that sickness. And you have been left with that feeling that your health is always in somebody else's hands or into the destiny's hands. But it was you all along. It is true that sometimes karma plays a role on the sickness that appears on your physical body or even in aging. There is indeed some kind of, let's call it destiny, or some kind of lessons which you agree to go through before you were born. Those lessons, you chose it yourself, you thought that will be good for you, even if you cannot remember that now. Sometimes those lessons have to be learned through physical problems. For example, there is people who are born with certain sickness, but please don't ever judge anyone because of the sickness that they got. Don't ever fall into this trap or into this lie of thinking that somebody was a bad person in their past life just because they are sick, because that's a big lack of compassion and it's just not true. As I always say, karma is an extremely complicated thing to explain, and it doesn't work like that, and it's not that simple. Somebody may have a highly evolved soul, and it may have a soul full of light and full of wisdom, but that person is getting something which belongs to millions and millions of lives ago. And maybe that person who is highly evolved now and who is full of light is getting that because now that person is able to transform that darkness from long ago into light. Maybe because that person has love enough to transform that into something different. So the mysteries of karma are never something easy to explain, and it's not something which can ever be judged. Some people may also choose some things which may look painful for others or which may look as something negative because of some special service or some special mission which they came to Earth to do. Like for example, those kids who are born looking like very, very old people. Those souls are here to teach something to the rest of humanity. And to explain it in a simple way is like they volunteered for that mission. So you may think, okay, so if karma is the owner of my destiny, then I'm not in control, I cannot do anything. Well, that's not entirely true. Some people may indeed have some spiritual contracts which they chose themselves and which they cannot break. Those contracts that, for example, just allow them to be on Earth for a very few period of time. They chose that themselves, like for example kids who die from sickness. They already agreed to come to Earth for a very short period of time, and that most of the times have to do with something the people around them have to learn or have to do with some kind of mission that they came here to accomplish. But in most of the cases, you are also in control of your karmic lessons. For example, let me explain you something which is actually very common. There is some woman who cannot conceive, they cannot have children. They may try for years and years, and finally they decide to adopt a kid. And what happens? Like a miracle, after they adopted that kid, they get pregnant, even if they are way older than 10 or 15 years ago when they were trying to get pregnant and they couldn't. If you by any chance know a therapist who is working with couples who have just adopted kids, you will see that is something very common, that those couples can have children after adopting, and nobody really understands why that happens. Many times it has to do with karmic lessons that mother has to learn. Maybe that woman in past incarnations, maybe not recent incarnations, that woman may be a very good loving woman, but maybe in very, very, very past incarnations, that woman was very abusive toward children or did terrible things to children. That is imprinted on one of her etheric bodies which she came to Earth with. And that is not allowing her to have children now. But what happens when that woman makes an act of compassion, of adopting someone else's kid, of taking care and taking responsibility for a kid which is not even her kid? Through that act of compassion, her karmic lesson gets cancelled. And then her physical sickness gets dissolved too, and she can conceive again. Again, I want to remind you, please don't ever judge anyone, or don't ever tell anyone who is sick that it is because of one of their past life, because they may take it as an attack. But please use this information to your advantage, or use it with those that you think may understand it. Because if you can connect to your past life, or just by intuition you may understand which kind of spiritual lesson you have to learn, you can get cured from certain sickness. But in the majority of cases, everything which creates an imbalance on your physical body is created by your beliefs, mostly by your thoughts, by your attitude in front of life, by your emotional state, and by your spiritual vibration. And you can change those things. You have to wonder if those big business people, they pay a lot of money for 1 second of your attention. If you see that many things around, just focused on controlling your mind and on controlling what you believe and what you think, maybe there is very big interest behind that, and maybe it is because that has a big power that you can use. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs are a very powerful etheric force. That force is connected to the seeds of creation, and that force can directly affect all your etheric bodies, and the consequence of that will be the change on your physical body. There is that phrase which says, if you don't mind it, it doesn't matter. If you remove the metaphorical meaning of that phrase, you are left with some words which actually contains a lot of wisdom. If you don't mind it, if you don't have it on your mind, it doesn't matter. It doesn't become a physical matter. I needed you to understand this power that you have for you to understand my next message and techniques that I'm gonna teach you, and for you to understand why those techniques work. I would like you to remember also that phrase that Jesus said, all I do, you can do it also, even more. That phrase seemed to have been conveniently ignored. And even centuries ago, when some people reached that high level of evolution and they could do similar things that what Jesus was doing, they could change the matter around them, they will be accused of witchcraft and they will be burned and killed for those who claimed to follow Jesus. I don't mean to criticize religion. I'm just trying to say the truth have been trying to reach humanity in many ways, but it always have been attacked. It has always been changed somehow, polluted, or just terribly twisted. But you will be given again and again the opportunity to see how divine you all are, and to see that indeed your faith can move mountains, and nobody will ever be able to remove that from you.